To assassinate the Russian ambassador, this girl deliberately made her belly big. Yep, a fake pregnancy. When a pregnant woman walks into a hotel, security never imagines she's actually a top-tier hit woman. Next, she just fakes a bout of morning sickness, murmurs something about low blood sugar, and while the guard runs off to fetch sweets, Lena springs to her feet, swaps out the ambassador's phone lying nearby, and just a moment later, the phone's electromagnetic device will arm, dropping the ambassador on the spot. Even if a guard blocks her now, no panic. He's probably just delivering the drink. Because who suspects an innocent mom-to-be? The hotel lobby is already pure chaos. The entourage is shouting for an ambulance, and as Lena steps into the elevator, a guard heads out to call for backup. But as the only outsider who just came in, no matter how convincing her act is, she still draws the guard's suspicion. Lena doesn't flinch. She's a pro, always ready for her cover to blow. And the kid waiting outside the elevator has probably never seen a pregnant woman move like this. They brawl from the lower floor to the upper, and while Lena's skills are legit, the cramped layout kills her speed advantage. She snatches the guard's pistol and fires back. Fortunately, plot armor engaged. These guys can't land a shot. Plus, Lena has an organization behind her. Her exfil team has mapped out the route, slipped down the staff stairwell, and she's out. But to shake the tail, Lena tries an alternate route. When the guards kick in the door, spot a gaping hole in the banquet hall window, they assume she bailed via high-altitude exit. In reality, it's a feint. She's already in the stairwell changing outfits. Give her a few minutes, and the blonde, expectant mom becomes a hotel server. She strolls out like nothing happened. The guards have intel and move to intercept, but the target description is completely wrong. All she has to do now is reach the extraction point, and the job's done. Except something's off with the exfil team. A man bursts into the room, knocks out her handler, and changes the rendezvous. His real goal? Just to see Lena. Meanwhile, Lena gets the updated pickup point and hops on a bus. She doesn't know someone else is already there and has grabbed her whole team. With Lena about to arrive, the man goes to get the car, but as the engine turns over, a woman appears at the window, produces a knife, slices the door's rubber seal, and squeezes in soapy water. Add a little heat, and the fingerprints inside will lift right off. Job done. She slips away. A minute later, the bus pulls in. This is the one shot to meet. Miss it, and there may not be another. David parks where they agreed, waiting quietly. But Lena, pro that she is, spots the scratch on the car. When something's off, it usually is. She senses danger. Her organization would never send a faulty car, so the driver is the issue. Lena turns and bolts, firing a few shots to stir chaos. If she melts into the crowd, she's basically safe. David can only sigh. Smart women are hard to approach. He wants to stop and chase, but the nearby cop raises a taser. No stopping here. The plan's basically blown. David drives off for now. The reunion will have to wait. At first light the next day, David buys rubber gloves and detergent, scrubs the car inside and out. She isn't a neat freak. She's erasing any trace she was there. She used to be an assassin too, and Lena is her daughter. Years ago, to get out, she faked her death, leaving Lena with a friend who knew that years later, the friend would die unexpectedly, and the organization would take the girl back, then train her into their next ace. David knew all too well how dangerous this business is, so he hoped to see his daughter and take her away, but he had promised his wife that if it failed, to avoid tipping off the organization, they would go to ground immediately and wait a few years for another chance. David was unwilling, knowing every extra day put Lena in more danger. In the end, despite his wife's objections, he decided on one last try. If approaching her failed, he'd make her come to him. He wrote down a set of coordinates, left it on the cellar table, and prepared a small surprise. What surprise, you ask? Nothing fancy. Under the fifth floorboard from the left, you can pull a fingerprint key. Yes, more realistic than you'd like. And press the hidden switch. He designed it so only Lena would know to do this. Once everything was set, David returned to the safe house. They say the young surpass the old, but he felt the rookies needed a lesson. In this line, brains beat brawn. As for Lena, he prepared for her a gift full of memories. That very night, after checking with the organization, Lena went to the coordinates. She wanted to know what this mysterious person was after. The pie on the table looked familiar as she drifted into memories. Boom. A teammate triggered a stair trap, instantly taken out. Before they even met anyone, they'd already lost a heavy hitter. David took the chance and dashed to the warehouse. He wasn't there to kill, but to secure a one-on-one with Lena. Using the warehouse's maze-like layout, he quickly neutralized the rest, leaving only Lena. To avoid anyone waking up mid-chat, he moved the meet to a hut on the hill. After a long night, the sun rose. David had taken a bullet to the chest, and Lena waited in the cabin, listening to footsteps outside. She flicked off the safety, aiming at a nearby tree. David stepped out, hands visible, saying he wasn't an enemy, but an undercover operative. Since the day she was born, everything about Lena had been orchestrated by the organization. Lena hesitated, then lowered her gun. Maybe there was a third option. David may be family, but he had lied to her and vanished for 9 years. She reported back to the organization, hoping for the truth from another angle. But the boss was stunned to hear David was alive. She'd thought the man was dead. Whatever Lena chose, the boss would back her. When David came to, Lena slowly accepted her father's return, but she didn't want to walk away so easily. At least, she'd say goodbye to her team. The assassins she'd knocked out earlier caught up, and upon seeing David, they immediately leveled their guns. Lena reacted on instinct, which showed that, in her heart, her father came before anyone else. But something felt off. Why shoot without a word? She grabbed their phone, and on it was a clear order: kill on sight. Between David and the organization, there was obviously no peace left. If Lena had to choose, she'd choose her father. But the organization had invested years, raising and shaping her, and wouldn't let her go so easily.